Welcome to LOV8U series. My name is Paulasadler, and I welcome you to our 2024 first episode. So Happy New Year. And today's episode, we're going to focus on how to do an in-depth personal reading. I'll be sharing with you my own personal reading and going into that, and then some New Year's traditions and some end-of-year traditions in order to release and let go of the old and welcome the new. I'm excited to be here with you today, and in the next episode, we'll be going over a special reading and forecast for the world, for others, for our community, as a family together. So let's get started. One of the things that I've been practicing for many years is called a private or aspiration of the heart, and a letter to God. And with this, here is what I wrote last year. And this is an idea that I got out of a book called Simple Abundance, so I can't take the credit for coming up with it, but it's a wonderful practice. And here's the book, Simple Abundance, by Sarah Van Bretnack. And on December 31st, there's a wonderful entry called Pray the Journey is Long. And it's a wonderful ending of the year. This is a one-a-day style book that takes you all the way through the year and then also has some suggestions of things to do each month. And one of the practices for December 31st, it's very similar to Unity and other spiritual centers that do a burning bowl. I attended a burning bowl ceremony this past Sunday at Unity, where we meditated. There was prayer, there was meditation, and coming up with one or two words of something that wasn't working in our life for the year that we wanted to release and let go. And so also I usually do one of those at home if I need to, if I haven't done it at church. And this one here in Sarah's book says, before we can welcome in the new year, we need to put the old year's unfinished business, mistakes, regrets, shortcomings, disappointments behind us. Here's how. Write down on small slips of paper whatever you'd like to forget, then place the slips of paper in a small cardboard box. Or you can burn them, or you can bury them, or even toss them and throw them in the trash. So I personally like to write mine down, and I ask for help to release and let go. I pray for that. I think about those things in my life that have not been working, and it's time to say goodbye, to make space for something new. And you don't have to be particularly religious or even spiritual. You could be an atheist or agnostic. It doesn't really matter. It's something that's happening within, something that we need to release not only from our mind, from our consciousness. It could be emotional, it could be spiritual, it could be physical things going on with us, it could be something that's happened to us from others. So it's really kind of a body, mind, spirit. And it really goes with every faith, every denomination, every spiritual practice. Anyone can do this, do a burning bowl ceremony for themselves, and anyone can practice this. It doesn't go against any particular religion. It's very universal, because whether you're praying to Jehovah, or to God, or to Jesus, or to Muhammad, or to Buddha, whoever it may be, every single religion and spiritual practice has some kind of figure, some kind of power greater than ourself in order to get in contact with for help. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're praying for direction, for guidance, for help to live our everyday lives, for whatever this power is for you, for it to come into your life and to give you direction and guidance and to help you in all of your human affairs. That's the purpose of all of these religions, and to live with certain spiritual principles and morals and standards depending on what it is that you believe. So for me, I can find something beautiful and wonderful in pretty much every religion and spiritual practice, as long as those practices don't aim to separate others or to teach any kind of hatred. Really, truly, I think the most important spiritual principle that we have and lesson that everyone can benefit from is the teaching of unconditional love, of healing of ourselves and others, and the ending of violence, hatred, and separation. And how do we do that? So here's one of the spiritual practices that I have, and so I've already done this. I did this at Unity Church. I'll share with you my personal release this year is to release feelings of being victimized or victimization, and also anger. And you can be one of the most spiritual people in the world. Don't think that spiritual people or religious people don't get angry, because they certainly can and do. And so I've had some situations happen to me this past year, actually past year and a half, almost going on 2 years. Well, it'll be 2 years in May. That caused me to become and feel very hurt, very victimized, feelings of victimization. And the recurring thought is, how could this have happened to me? Why has this happened to me? I felt, part of me had felt, what have I done to deserve that or bring that into my life? And I have some situations that I'm going through with my business. There's some fraud situation I've had to deal with from 3 individuals that's directly affected my business of over 20 years. And from a spiritual point of view, I've had to pray for God's will to be done. One, for God to relieve me of any anger and hurt. And just because we're following a spiritual path, and just because we pray and meditate, whether you are the Pope or you are one of the highest spiritual leaders of any of the churches, or just a regular person just trying to find their way through their religion or faith or spiritual practice, all of us are subject to feelings of being hurt, to being victimized, for others actually doing things to us that can actually harm us, and that do actually harm us in many different ways. Whether it's war that's going on in the Middle East, whether it's social unrest, whether it has to do with civil rights or any kind of discrimination or racism, all these terrible things, and that we have people in the world who just seem to be pure evil. And what is that? And how do we overcome it? Looking around at whether there's all of this suffering through murder, rape, incest, violence, discrimination, so many things. The question is, the question is, where's God? Where's God in all of that? So I think these are very difficult and challenging times for all of us to be facing and to be trying to move through. And for myself, even having a spiritual practice for many years, since I was 14, I started to develop a more closer and intimate relationship and began a better understanding of this power in my life, which I call God. And I was actually baptized Catholic when I was born. Part of my family was Catholic. We became born-again Christians in the 80s. And in the 90s, I found my way through Unity Church and also through metaphysical teachings, philosophy, other spiritual practices which encompass more of a worldview. And one of my favorite authors, actually, Doreen Virtue, I was so sad to see her denounce all of her previous work. And for whatever reasons, she needed to do that. Would I ever do that? Would I ever come to that conclusion? Well, I suppose if I'm going to convert back to being a born-again Christian, or, a Christian, that is something that might happen to someone, and they want to denounce anything that they feel is taking them away from what they call the Word of God. For me, I have to follow my own truth and my own heart, and where that leads me, and what feels right, and what may be right for one in their pathway to enlightenment, to consciousness of awakening their spirit. Truly, anyone can do God's will. And what God are we talking about? That's a very personal question and a very personal relationship. And every soul must journey their own path to discover what that is. So, welcome to 2024. That's a little bit from Sarah Bretnack, and I've written out my aspirations of the heart. I've done my burning bowl. I've asked for what I needed released and let go. And on January 1st, I love what she says, and on the simple abundance path, and talking about new beginnings. And January 1st, she writes about a transformative year of delight and discovery. And so we have a wonderful and beautiful beginning. And in the back, at the end of the January entries, is a list, joyful simplicities for January. And then they're through every month. And one of the things that I've been doing is, it says, write out your aspirations of your heart as you begin the simple abundance path. And so these are the most private aspirations and longings, dreams that are waiting to be lived. And so I have mine that I have written. And let's see here. And then it's signed, it's dated, and it says to be opened January 1st, 2025. So I have a whole year of waiting. So I write out my list of what I'd like to bring into my life, my dreams, my hopes, my aspirations. I pray and ask for God's will to be done, and if this is God's will, whatever that may be, and for the help to achieve these things. And I give thanks in advance for it. There's another great book that I love called Write It Down, Make It Happen by Henriette Klauser, PhD. And she really walks, it's a book to walk through affirmative prayer and giving thanks in advance. And so it's really kind of a way of a scientific prayer as well, as we give thanks and we affirm. And so I've been doing that for many years, and many of the things that I've been writing about for now the past nearly 30 years of doing this practice. Since I was 19, many of those things I have achieved, and they've come into my life, and they've been wonderful, wonderful expressions of God's will, wonderful expressions of miracles manifesting, wonderful expressions of this alchemical process when we write something down and that we're bringing it into focus in the mind. And we kind of set it aside. It's amazing what happens. Now, much of what I wrote for 2024, I made progress in a lot of areas, and some of the things I completed and fulfilled. I have to decide if I want to bring more of that, what was unfinished or partially finished, into my life in the new year. It's not the same as making a resolution. It's not the same as really a goal, but this is a process to get in touch deeply with the heart, with what's inside. And so in that, I will share with you my personal reading. Now, I use several decks. I have the Angelic Messenger cards. I have the Universal cards, the universal cards. I have another one called Animal Spirits. I'm also using the Fifth Agreement, Toltec Wisdom cards by Don Miguel Ruiz. Now, many of these you may not even be able to find anymore. I am using also Doreen Virtue Life Purpose Oracle cards. And then we have Ascension cards by Diana Cooper. And finally, we're also using today, let's see, where's this one? We have, here they are, the Angel Blessing cards. So, you don't necessarily need this many cards to do a reading, but on January 1st, I like to do more in depth. For a simple card reading, I may just use one deck and pull 3 cards, a past, present, future. Now, you know what? I could go to the Holy Bible, I could go to the Quran, I could go to any spiritual text and book. And if I want guidance too, I can pray to be given guidance. I can pray for direction and guidance, to show me, to guide me, whatever it is. I could literally open the page and read a scripture, and then it's up to me to interpret that. And I may take a few of those and do just that. So you can be any faith, any religion. It's up to you how you are interpreting the guidance that is coming to you. And some people of certain faiths may say, "Oh my gosh, like Doreen Virtue is, is talking about you just go to Jesus and you go to the Bible." That's wonderful. That's wonderful if you have that connection and you have developed that. For me, I think there's room in the world for all of our beautiful and varied spiritual and religious beliefs. There is no one right way to have this relationship with this higher power or with God. Some will tell you there is only one way. What kind of world would we have if everyone believed exactly the same thing? Do we really want that in our world? Is that a world that you want to live in? Are we all to be kind of these automatons, robotic, all walking in the same direction, moving in the same direction, believing exactly the same things? And we have to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of religion and spirituality? And why are all these other varied beliefs out there? Well, I think that God comes to each and every one in his or her own special way. And we would have a lot less culture and tradition if we all believed in the same thing. So what's right for me may not be right for you. And I don't also try to take away from any particular belief, but there's nothing in terms of when we're looking at what is evil or what is something that's not of God, or something that may be some Christian people, or depending on your religion or belief, may be taking you away from your belief. You have to pray for your own direction and guidance on that. You have to see what that is. But if there is an intention of simply searching out direction and guidance, if there is an intention of trying to become more conscious and aware, who is to say what is the right or wrong way to go about that? Each soul, each person must travel the road in which is right for them. So those are the decks that I have, and that's the reading that I did today. So I ask you to have an open mind, to open your heart, to open your soul to receiving guidance and wisdom. And if you like what I do, I invite you to have that practice for yourself. Something may be triggered within you that says, wow, I've never known that, or oh, I do that, or that really makes sense to me. And so my first card that I pulled was Synchronicity. This is number 20 in the Angelic Messenger card deck. The second card is number 11 in the deck of Willingness. Now, these beautiful flowers on there. And the next one is Emergence. So the way I look at that is that I need to be paying attention this year to synchronicity, to being in the right place at the right time, and to knowing it. And synchronicity can happen when you're having an experience, and you may feel like you've been there before, this happened before, and it just seems right. And I like to think of it simply as being at the right place at the right time and knowing it. It will come into your awareness. So paying attention to these synchronistic events, these kind of chance meetings, or getting something happening at just the right time that it's needed. Next, willingness. I need to practice willingness, and to have willingness. If I'm not, willing, then I can't. If I don't have a willing heart and a willing mind and an open mind, I can't be moving forward. And 11 is the number of the spiritual teacher and of spiritual guidance. So already it looks like I'm going to be being made aware of being in the right place at the right time, to have willingness for this emergence is the next card, for something new to emerge in my life. And what is the emergence bringing me? My next cards from the universal cards are expectancy, inspiration, and trust. So I'm to enter this year with an expectant heart and willingness, so that I can be inspired. How can I be inspired if I'm not expecting it, and if I'm not willing to do God's will, and if I'm not willing also to be aware of synchronicities of when that's happening? And then finally, I must trust. So trusting in the process. One of the cards that came up from Don Miguel Ruiz Toltec wisdom is, what message am I delivering to myself? When I deliver truth and love to myself, I am happier, and just by being happier, the people around me benefit. My effort is really for everyone, because my joy, my happiness, my heaven are contagious. And so that's the question that's being posed to me for this year. What message am I delivering to myself? So what is the reoccurring thoughts in my mind? Am I going to be held back by what I talked about earlier, with feelings of victimization, anger, hurt, self-pity for things that have happened to me or been done to me? Or am I going to enter this new year expecting miracles to happen, being in touch with synchronicity, which is something I have extensive experience about, writing about in my book, The Nature of Miracles, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And Volume 1 is filled with meditations, prayers, channeled writing, affirmations, and it was written after 9/11 as a gift to others to heal terror consciousness and fear, in order to move into a new awareness of unconditional love and healing for myself at the time, and for others, for the entire planet. And then my Volume 2 I've been working on for some years, and they're real life miracle stories of how they come into our lives, how we recognize them. Really, miracles and synchronicity they're one and together. But I can't appreciate that if I'm not open and willing, if I'm not trusting, and if I don't have an expectant heart. And I also can't be inspired if I'm not willing. So I see how that card has come about. I need to be very careful of the guidance. Well, not of the guidance. I have to be very careful of the repetitive messages that I tell myself in my own mind. And I can easily get caught up into feeling victimized and feeling that others have done such wrong to me. And I can get into self-pity, anxiety, and depression very quickly. And what do I have to combat that? I have my spiritual practice, prayer, meditation. I could do a card reading for myself. I can open the Bible. I can open any spiritual text, and I can receive guidance. And I have to believe that that guidance that's coming is right and true and good for that moment. It looks like travel is in my life this year. And I have some places I've been wanting to go that are very important to me, some world travel. And it says, my life purpose involves traveling. Well, one of the things that I have been thinking about in the past weeks, and also in the past, most recently, is traveling, one, abroad, and also traveling throughout the country, doing some work, consulting, for business owners, for technicians, working on a franchise package, working on consulting, and also developing my nonprofit foundation, LOV8U. And all of that may involve quite a bit of traveling. So look at that. Synchronistically, it comes up. Of course, you can say, oh, you can pull any card and you can make up a meaning to it to apply it to your life. Well, sure, you can do that, and you can believe that it's just a coincidence, or that it maybe means nothing, or, somehow it's very generalized, but not true. When we're in touch with the spirit, with our spiritual self, when we're in touch with a higher awareness and a higher knowledge, those who have deep and significant spiritual experiences through applied spiritual principle and practice over time, do develop the sixth sense of intuition, of being able to not only recognize and receive guidance when it comes, but also to be able to interpret it, sometimes very quickly, very easily, intuitively. And so for me, that is one of the gifts that I have, or that I've been working on and developing for many years, is that spiritual or intuitive side, to be able to understand when guidance is coming. And so that is something that anyone can achieve through practice. So the next card is 21, Iophil Beauty. And actually, it's interesting. I got two cards that had 21. And of course, I'm in the beauty business, and I love to create beautiful spaces, places, to help make people more beautiful, not just on the outside, but on the inside, and actually starting on the inside first, because it's truly an experience of the uplifting the spirit, and that feeling of inner beauty extends outward, and then when we're working on the physical body, it really works on the spiritual level as well. Whenever you're cleaning something, whenever you're making something better, paying attention to something, giving it energy and love, whether it is a sidewalk, somebody's hair, or their hands, or their body, it's an amazing experience, because there's something energetically happening. We're actually changing something, and we're enlivening and invigorating the spirit of a thing. The number 21 in numerology is a 3, and it simply is about the past, present, and future, and about full cycles. So it's telling me here in my reading that it looks like a full circle, a full cycle of events, kind of the past, present, future, beginning, middle, and end, with beauty, and with what that is. And then finally, my second to last card today is Saint Germain, and this is number 34 in the Ascension cards. And the Saint Germain card is talking about transforming that which no longer serves into something beautiful and light. and the card Beauty came up. And also, what a wonderful card for this New Year's, in terms of, as we're talking about releasing and letting go what has not been working, and to be bringing in, because if I am in the process of releasing and letting go that which no longer serves me, and I've asked for help with that, what does that do? That creates a wonderful open space. It creates the open vessel within and without, and something has to now come into that space. What is that? Beauty and light, and that's the healing. And this is Saint Germain is referred to as the violet flame, the Lord of civilization that works with Archangel Zadkiel. So talking about here pure intention, focusing to co-create and to make miracles happen. Here's a card of miracles. And it says, use this to help yourself and others to ascension. What is ascension they're talking about? They're talking about higher awareness, spiritual intuition, spiritual awakening, awakening to something that's greater than ourselves, which is leading us in the most positive and loving ways to heal the planet, to heal humanity, to live our purest intention and destiny and purpose, which is the only reason why all of us are here. And the beautiful affirmation says, I believe in my ability to create miracles. So in that, we are given the power to love others. And what happens when we love another? Does love create miracles? If we look around and seeing a world full of fear, full of terror, full of suffering, violence, full of unrest, what can help to heal that? And what is the cause of that? The cause of all of that is the soul that is not awakened, the soul that is not in touch with unconditional love, with God, whatever that power may be, that very personal experience for each person. So how can we believe in our ability to create miracles? Well, for me, that's what my books and my writing and my teaching are all about, that have come to me, that I've been inspired to share with you, all of you. And I have doubted that ability many times. And who gives that power to us? Our higher power, or God, whatever you will call that. I've experienced it. I have scientific proof to show that miracles are a natural part of our experience in our world. They can be explained not only scientifically, but through intuition, through religious and spiritual texts, and through personal experiences. And many may say, oh, well, it's just a coincidence, or, that could happen to anyone. But when you read my book, The Nature of Miracles, Volumes 1 and Volume 2, you will have to be your own judge of that and what feels right and resonates within you. So I'm going to take all of that in so that I can move into this new year releasing feelings of victimization and anger and transforming that resentment through the power of love. I will be on the lookout for these synchronistic and miraculous moments. I will be willing so that I can have a heart filled with expectancy to be inspired and trust this process of life, and to be careful to deliver only messages of love and hope to myself, to travel the inner and outer worlds, creating and being beauty, and helping others to see the beauty within themselves and within the world, so that everyone can believe in the power of a miracle. That is my personal reading. My animal totem that has come to me through this, and this is from the animal spirit cards, is the bull. The bull is a symbol of renewal, fertility, and growth. And let's see what the bull says here. It also might mean to be careful not to be bullheaded. Let's see. Also, there is this element of sacrifice and a cycle of renewal. So that cycle of renewal that came through in the reading was also in number 21, or 3 in numerology. That's kind of that whole circle, that whole cycle. And what is the sacrifice? We cannot bring into this world anything new, anything helpful, if there is not some sacrifice. And what is the sacrifice that's being made? Sometimes, and most often in spiritual practice and traveling the road less traveled, or the spiritual road, the high road, whatever you'd like to call it, there is quite a bit of sacrifice that's made when we take the time to pray and to meditate, especially when we're not doing it for ourselves, when we're practicing that and doing that for others, through volunteering, through spending time and energy focusing on helping others in this world. So I want to wish you a very happy new year. I thank you for joining me on this episode of LOV8U, and I look forward to bringing you a very special reading for what the world needs now. And that will be our next episode. So thank you for joining me. I'm Paula Sadler. Please click to follow and like. Seek us out on all of our social medias. You can check out my book, thenatureofmiracles.com. My new 22nd anniversary ebook is coming very soon. I'm excited to offer this with updated information. There's a new index, first-time index, and also expanded explanations for the entries, and a whole new format. It's very exciting. So thank you for tuning in to LOV8U, and we'll be seeing you soon.